So today's class, let's go. So yesterday we created an application in Classic. So today we would go ahead and create an object, custom object in the Classic. So I'm in the Classic Experience homepage. So our go to page is mainly the setup. Go to setup, go to the build menu, build, and then create. And here we have something called objects. Okay, so we just want to create an object. So this is one object which I have already created. So let us create some object. Click on the new custom object. Okay, so what we will do is we will create a custom object called candidate. So plural name you have to give. They are showing us how to do it. Okay, the object name is used when referencing. So this is the object name which is used while referencing. You can give any description. This is related to HRMS application. Whatever description if you want to give. Context sensitive, open standard, salesforce.com. This you can leave it as it is. It's not needed as of now. Enter the record name and label format. Can leave it again as it is. Optional features. See, this all we will come in the future classes. Okay, so if I need to, if I select this, allow reports. So there is something called reporting, reports and dashboards in Salesforce, where this particular object can be included in the report. So if I don't check it, it won't be included in the report. Activities, there is something called activities also. Track field history. So we have something called checking the history, field history, in order to find like what has happened on this particular object and who had performed some particular changes. So that by if we check this, we can see that allow in chatter groups. So as I told, there is one other object called chatter. Okay, so that is like a forum or for discussion. You can ask any questions, and then people who know about it they will answer. So we like rarely use Salesforce chatter, but it depends. Some projects uses it. Enable licensing, this is not required. Object classification. So when these settings are enabled, a classified enterprise application object, these settings disable classified as lightning application object. Okay, so again, these are also the settings which uh, are used for making this object visible to some other people or some other programs. Okay, so allow sharing. This is for sharing settings. Again, that's a topic which will come across later. Bulk API access. Yes, this also will come across later. So these are like again, this bulk API access, streaming API access, these are the API things which we will come to know about them in batch programming. And this deployment status, you select it as deployed since this is just a configuration. Okay. So there comes an opportunity for us where we develop something and we can't do it completely the whole day. So I mean, in a single day we can't do it completely. So it's that time we would mark it as in development and then continue the later work on this particular configuration, particular work tomorrow. And so that it should, once everything is completed, we should mark it as deployed so that it is ready to be used. So since this is just an object creation, it's deployed. And search status, you can click allow search or you can uncheck it. So search is one other important feature. So we have SOQL and SOSL. Salesforce object query language, Salesforce object search language. So in the SOSL, if we check this, when we write some query in the SOSL, so this particular object will be visible. Okay. So that is about allow search, object creation options. These are optional again. Okay. So add notes and attachments. So this particular you know components will be displayed on our particular object. So these are all not necessary for now. I'm just clicking on save. See, this is the API name. So through programming, if we need to access this object, this is how we reference it using the API name. As I told you, for custom objects, the object name is like object name underscore underscore C. So we just created an object called candidate. Okay. So once we go here, so we can see our candidate object. If we click, okay. So we can see multiple things out here, right? So these are all the properties. So let us talk about few of them here. So there is something called fields in an object, as I told you. So we have any object in Salesforce is it's represented as a table. Okay, table has rows and columns. Rows are called records. Columns are called fields. Okay, so in that fields we have something called standard field as well as custom fields. So standard fields for any object, you have this 4 standard fields by default. Okay, these are the standard fields by default. Any object, even when you create a custom object, these standard fields are by default there. Okay, so first one is the name and its data type is text. So we will be talking about data types today again. And the second field is created by, who created it, the user. Last modified by, who has last modified that particular object, and the owner of that particular object. So these 4 fields are called standard fields of an object. So these are by default there for all the standard objects, and also whenever we create any custom object. Name created by, last modified by owner. Okay. So custom fields and relationships. So I'm going to explain this now. We will create some fields on our candidate object. Lookup fields, lookup filters. This we will check it once we are done with the topic called relationships. Validation rules, triggers, page layouts. Yeah. So these are all as of now not required, but yes, we would be dealing all this in the future classes. Yeah. See, limits. If you this is an interesting task. See, limits. So custom fields, how much we can create up to 500 fields. Okay. So we didn't create any field till now, right? So once we create a field, so usage it will show as 1, and limit it shows as for 499, something like that. So yeah, these are all the limits which are available for us. Workflow rules, approval process. Yeah, these are again different topics. We will sharing rules, sharing settings. Yeah, these are also different things. So all of them have their limits. So limits, when I say, it's the governor limits, you cannot proceed more than that. Yeah, if you want to proceed for more than this number, a governor limit, you will have to go get unlimited edition, or even in unlimited edition also there are like some number is given. So you want more than that number, probably you will have to reach out to Salesforce and ask them for additional resources by paying the extra amount. Okay, so this is how an object is created. Okay, so now what we will do is we will go ahead and create some fields for that object. So we just created an empty object. So we will be creating fields for it. Okay, so let's go to the setup again, build, create objects, and we select our object which is needed, the candidate object, and okay, so we need to create some custom fields for this particular object. So we are creating that. So custom fields and relationships, click on new. Field dependencies, there is one other button, right? That again, we will understand that after relationships topic. Okay. So I want to create in the candidate, so we already have the name field. So what I need is uh, surname. Okay. So for that, I use an data type as text. Okay. Field label is, you can write as candidate surname or surname. So it depends on application to application, like which field will be, needed, which will, it's our wish. Okay. Length, we can mention this. So I'm mentioning it as 255 characters maximum, and requires, see, I was talking about this field, right? The red color mark field. So we can make the surname also as required. If we give this checkbox, if we check it, then in our object, this particular field will be marked as required. So whenever we are adding a new record into our candidate object, so it will ask surname to be entered, unless it is not going to add that uh, particular value into our object. Okay, so if we mark it as required, it's going to be, mandatory field. So I don't think it's needed for me, so I'm not checking it. Yeah, if you want to give any default value, you can give it. Click on next. Okay, so this is again the security settings. So whom do we want, like whom we can allow to view this particular field, or we want to make it as read only. So we can select that. Okay, so we can select the users who need to view this field, or we can, completely just give them a read only access. So I'm selecting for all the users. I'm selecting it as visible for all the users. So there comes a situation where we create some fields and mark it as read only. So in that cases, it's like um, so the other people can just view it. They cannot modify it. Uh, rare scenarios. We just want them to know that is there, but we don't want them to modify it. So this is, yeah, page layout. Okay. So there is something called page layout in Salesforce. Uh, so we can, I will show you how to create a custom page layout as well. So By default, the candidate object is going to have candidate page layout. Okay, save. So we can create custom page layouts and then we can keep it. So if then here it is like which page layout to use, that we can set. So it depends. So we will have multiple page layouts. Okay. See, I created one custom field called surname and its data type is text. Okay. So let us create one more. So for candidate, what would be the email? So candidate's email we will take it. So we would go ahead and check on email data type. Next. So we'll create multiple fields like this for each object. So write it as enter your email. So we can again email, I think we would mark it as required because while filling the candidate data, we need their email. So I'm marking it as required field. Default value, nothing. Click on next. So visibility, we can select, click on next. Page layout, we selected the default page layout and saved. Okay, so we see a field called email in the candidate object. Okay, so this is how we create custom object and custom fields within classic. Okay, so I hope you understood, right? Any questions still here?
No.
Okay, yep. So this is how we create a custom object and custom fields. Yeah, so we were doing something called data type here, right? So we let us talk about the type of data types available in Salesforce. So there, yeah. So this is about field types or data types in Salesforce. So we know for any kind of programming language or something, we have something called data type, the type of data that is going to be used uh, in simple terms. So while creating any type of fields, we need to select the data type of that field. So yeah, so that is where the data type comes into picture. All the data types cannot be, same, right? So it depends. So on how, what type of data types. So for email, just now we created candidate object. For surname, we took it as text. For email, we took it as email. Okay. So for surname, we took it as text because we can enter the text. Okay. So or a text of 255 characters length up to maximum. And for email, it should be an email, the format. So for email data type, again, it will have at the rate symbol. So that format is defined within the data type. So these are the data types which are present in the Salesforce text. So text is nothing but it is any other general text. So this data type is used to create a text box field in the object. So it allows us like to create a maximum of 255 characters. Okay. Text type is general text, okay, character text. Okay, so this is about text, and all these are text data types only. Text area long, text area rich. All are text data types only, but it depends on like the length and the formatting we do. So it depends. So if it is just plain text and limited characters, we can just, so we used for our surname, we use text type because it's going to be not maximum more than 255 characters, if I am not wrong. Yeah. So that's why we used 255, just the simple text. Sorry. So text type. Yeah. And coming to text area, it is, so this allows us to enter the data in multiple lines. So it can be, uh, again, the maximum of 255 characters, and it can be anything. So it can be alphanumerical, alphanumerical characters plus special characters as well. So now I hope you understood the difference between text type and text area type. So text type, we just have simple plain text. Text area has uh, again the same up to 255 characters, but it can have alphabets, numbers, and special characters. So all together. So that's why this is another data type called text area. So next we have is text area long. So long in the sense, by the name we can understand it is the length of that particular data type is long. Okay. So this field allows us to enter data in multiple lines up to a maximum of some, so multiple lines of data, and also the length, the maximum characters is very high. It is like one, so 1,31,072 characters. So if it is something like um description field or something like, we need to enter like 3 to 4 lines at least. So those kind of fields, we can go ahead and use our text area long data type. So that is about text area long. Text area rich. This field allows us the data in multiple lines. Again, the same number of characters, but the main difference here is it says rich, right? So we can even have different font colors, font sizes. So we can have, as it says, rich. So rich in the sense, in terms of textual language, we can even format that particular text. So that's why it is text area rich. So now these 4 types, I hope you understood the difference. It's just the basic simple text up to 255 characters text type. Text area type, it is also up to 255 characters, but it also includes alphanumerical and special characters. Text area long, it can have multiple lines up to 1,31,072 characters. So this is like for some kind of descriptions. And text area rich is multiple lines with maximum this characters, and we can also have we can change the font colors, font sizes. We can keep some headings. We can write a paragraph. So something like that. So text area riches. Uh, okay. So this is about text data types. The next one we have is email. So this field, this particular email data type is used to store the email types. This field is used to enter any valid email addresses, which will be verified by Salesforce upon saving the record. So if you enter just in the email field, if you enter just the name, let's say Srikant. If you enter this, the Salesforce is going to verify this and say throw an error to you. It's not in the email format. So it should say srikant123@gmail.com, something like that. So if you say enter this value, it's going to accept because it's in the email format. So email data type is nothing but just an uh, if you will have to enter a valid email address. So yeah. Again, so while I was talking about this, I was thinking of how Salesforce is going to check it, right? Probably you also would have. So we have something called validation rules in Salesforce, which are going to validate. Though this particular validation rule is an inbuilt validation rule within Salesforce CRM, so which is validating whether it's an email address or not. Okay. We can even so through programming through force.com we can even test whether this particular email is valid one or not. So we can write a validation rule saying we will send an email to this and we'll send a code email to this. You will have to enter that code to verify that this email is yours. So we can write a validation rule. So validation rules are nothing but those are the verification rules which are used to check the data consistency, whether the data entered is correct or not, whether a valid data is entered or not. So that's about validation rules in Salesforce, which we will come across later. So now in our scenario, this is a default validation tool built within the Salesforce CRM, which is just checking whether the entered data is in valid email format, email ID format or not. Okay, so that is about email. So next is the phone number. So this is just this field is used to store any 10-digit phone number. So why only 10 digit? So even the, I think US numbers also, it will be entered. Once it is entered, that braces will appear. Okay. So this field is used to store 10-digit phone numbers. Once the user enters the 10-digit phone number, then it will convert the phone number into US number format. Okay. So if I enter, suppose some random number, 900. So once I enter it, then the Salesforce will, once you save this number, it will be stored in the Salesforce as this way. So once you enter and save it, so it will convert to the US style format and it will be saved this way. So this is a 10-digit phone number. In the phone number field, you only have option to enter numbers, digits, and only up to 10 maximum. So this is the phone number data type in Salesforce. So this is used. So in our candidate object which we created, we can create a field called phone using the data type as phone number or mobile number, and then we'll create that custom label as mobile number, and we will use the data type as phone. Okay, so that is about the phone. Next one is currency. So this is to store the currency values. Uh, this field allows to store maximum of 18-digit number, and once the record gets displayed, so it will display the currency value by prefixing it with currently configured currency symbol in the Salesforce. So in Salesforce, we have something called company settings. So in the company settings, if we so we need to give our currency type, whether it is an INR or whether it's a US dollar or whether it is Europe's euros or yeah. So we need to give that currency details in our company settings. I'll show you that company settings. It's also a topic. Okay. So in that, whatever currency is given, whenever we enter the value, it is automatically going to convert it into that currency. So if we enter, so we have set our currency in our company settings as dollars. So if we enter 100, so it is when we save it, it is actually saving as like this, $100. Okay, so this will be automatically saving in the currency format which we have given in our company settings. Currency is, it allows numerical values, integer as well as decimal. So a currency can have decimals also, right? So that's the reason. So it allows currency integer plus decimal. You can enter the value as 10.25. Yes, it is accepted in currency. So yeah, this is about currency data type in Salesforce. So the next one, so see, you can come across a question here. So if my company is a multinational company and it is dealing with multiple currencies, so in that case, what Salesforce is going to do? Yeah, so we have an option called in the company settings again, we have some option called enable multiple currency. So multi-currency is the option. So we can go to, setup, administer, then company profile, company information. Under that, we find something called currency settings. We can click, and do you want me to show? Okay, let's hold here and go ahead and show it to you. Okay, let me share my screen. So go to our setup. Hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, go to our setup and we have, say we were going to build right now. Let us see administer. This is our administer. In that we have something called company profile, company information. So this is where we find the details of our company or the org, Salesforce org. Okay. So here, if we need to enable multi-currency, click on edit. Okay. So in the edit and then currency settings, see, this is the currency settings. Activate multiple currencies. So if we check this checkbox and save, so based depending once we click on this, see this, the currency selected as your currency local will become your corporate currency. Okay, so multiple currencies will be enabled. So if your Salesforce or people, few people are sitting in Europe, a few people are sitting in US, so they can enter their local currency, but it will be converted to the company currency INR. It will be automatically converted. So that is how we can enable multiple currencies. So I'm not going to save it. Okay, so this is how we can see our uh, we can make use of the enable multi-currency feature if at all, if our Salesforce org needs is that particular org is spread across the world and they are using multiple currencies, we can use that option. Okay, so this is all about uh, the currency field or currency data type. The next one is the URL. So URL is nothing but to store any website name or website information. We can use this type of data type. So suppose we are using Salesforce and we have some XYZ company which has come to us and asked us to create the records for them. Okay, so their company website will be there, right? So we will be adding a field called website. Okay, so I mean we'll create a field called website and the data type for that field is URL. So URL, so the website, to store the website information or any URL information, this field is used. So pick list. So probably you should have been, working on it multiple times, but you do not know that is what called pick list. Or yeah, in normal terms, it's drop down list, right? So we will see multiple drop down list options to select whenever we fill some forms or something like that. So that is in a normal language. In a Salesforce language, that drop down list is called a pick list. So pick list is nothing but it's a this control is used to store some set of values inside it. So coming to our custom object candidate, so we can create a field called location, which whose data type should be pick list. So maybe he belongs to Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai. Yeah, so we can have a pick list values like that, and then location we can mention the location, and the location field type is pick list. So it is used. This control is used to store a set of values in it, which are like going to be selected. So this is about pick list and multi-select pick list. This is again nothing much difference than pick list. Only problem is in the pick list we can select only one value at a time, whereas pick list multi-select we can select more than one values at a time. So by one or more elements we can select. So the selected items will be concatenated one after the other using the semicolon, and these values will be stored. So for this example, if you say what can we give? Skills. Let's say skills. Okay. So we need a field, something called skills. And in that a pick list multi-select is given. So I have Java, Spring Boot, React.js, Node.js, all these options. And this particular candidate knows. So in our candidate object, this particular candidate knows Node.js, React.js, and Java all together. So he can select all of them, right? Multiple selects he can do. If he knows everything which is present in that pick list, probably he can select all also. So yeah, that is the option given on this pick list multi-select data type. So example skills, we can mark skills as example. And here we took example as location. So we can create a field called location using yeah. Next, date. Date is nothing but simple as you hear it. It's a date is a date data type. So it will store the date in month. So the format is like uh, starting with month. Sorry, yeah, starting with month, year. Sorry, TD, YY. So this is the format which is by default going to be stored, but we can even customize this. So date is nothing but just a normal date. So in our candidate object, uh, so we can create a field like earliest joining date. So when a candidate can be available to us, so earliest joining date, we can create a field like this, and the data type for this field should be date, and date and time will have both date time together, ma MMDD as well, followed by your hours and minutes. Okay, so these are like we'll come to know when we use it easily. So that it's a basic data type which is needed again. So number, this field is used to store any numerical value which includes both integer and decimal values. So it can hold any numbers, maximum of 18 digit number. So in our candidate object which we created, so we can have some field called number of positions, and for that we can give the number as data type. So for this is the field name, and for this I need to use the data type as number. So yeah, it gives the number of open positions available for this particular opening. Okay, and percentage. So it allows us to store numerical values, which is stored using the prefix percentage symbol. So it gets, if we store some number, it gets postfixed with the percentage symbol. So it's just like, uh, okay, in our candidate object, again, we have some field called percentage of travel, right? So they give some option called travel percentage. So they mention like 20%, 40%, or 60% of percentage travel. So there we can create a percentage of travel, and then we can use this data type called percent. Okay, so that is about percentage checkbox. So this field type is used to store Boolean values inside the column, which may be either true or false. So I think you all should be knowing, right? Checkbox is normal checkbox. If you tick it, it's true. If you don't tick it, it's false. So it's a Boolean value. So in programming, again, we have this data type, which is in the programmatical terms, it is called as Boolean data type. Okay. In the configuration, the data type is the checkbox data type. So text encrypted, this is used to store some confidential values. Suppose I have a field called password. So I need to use the data type for the password as text encrypted, so that whenever I type something, it will be showing as stars, right? So that is the reason we use this text encrypted data type. Okay, auto number. This is one interesting data type in Salesforce, which is, to make the column value auto-generated. So this field, it is used to be like, suppose our table doesn't have any primary key. So I want an auto-generated number to be created. So we can use auto number field as the data type for that particular field. So by using this field type, we can generate the values for the field based on the specified format. So auto number is like a system generated field. It will generate values of the field upon saving the record. So once we save the record only, then an auto generated number is created for this. So system generated, again, the all other fields are like we are giving the values, right? But this auto number field, we cannot give the value, we cannot change the value. So we cannot even modify it. It's a read only field. So this is the auto number field. The next one is geolocation. So this one is, as you can find it from the name, yes, it stores both the latitude and longitude information. Uh, Similarly, if we need to find some or the other location, we will have latitude dot longitude, right? So that is where the geolocation field is used for. Yeah. And the last one is time. See, as you all know, this type of field is used to store the time value inside the field, which is a new field type available. Okay, this field type is available from 2018 only. So previously we didn't have it. So yeah, it's just the time. So we had date time, and later on they found even just the time is also needed. So they introduced this time data type also. So this is all about data types in Salesforce when it comes to Salesforce administration. Okay, so yeah. Okay, I would ask you to make a note, since you go ahead on your weekend. I have prepared some assignments for you in order not to miss the flow. So hope you all did our assignment too. So next one is assignment 3, and we have assignment 4. See, so these are the assignments for you for the weekend. Please make a note. So assignment 3, configure a list view option for the lead object to represent only those leads whose industry is energy and whose annual revenue is more than 4 crores. Yeah. So here we were talking, there were two criteria. Industry type is energy, industry equal to energy, and then you have to use the logical operator and then you have to also use annual revenue field, it is more than 40, sorry, 4 crores. Okay. So there are two options. So I want you to create a list view option for this, and then you can see the results, like how many records are displayed on that. So the next one is configure a list view option for opportunity object to represent only those opportunities whose amount is greater than 1 lakh. So in opportunities, we have something called amount. So amount greater than 1 lakh is the criteria. So you can create a list view for that. And next comes the assignment 5, create a custom object position. So we were doing the candidate object, right? So similarly, I would ask you to create a custom object position in Classic by adding the below fields to store the position details. So position name, location, number of vacancies, open date, minimum pay, position description, HR manager email. So again, I have given the data types to be used. Okay. For name, it's name. And if you remember, this is already a standard field which is available. For location, it should be pick list, and this should be marked as mandatory. So while creating a custom field, you should mark this particular field. You should check that checkbox required. Okay. The number of vacancies is the number data type. Open date is date data type. Minimum pay as currency data type. Position description, you can go ahead with text area long data type. And HR manager email, the person who has published this position. So HR manager, his email, the email type. So by making use of these data types, you just create a custom object called position. Okay, so this is all about today's class. So what we have learned today is we have created a custom object candidate, and we have added custom fee. We know there are, let me share. So we have created this object candidate. So we have created a custom object candidate, and in that we have added custom fields, email and surname, and email of data type email and surname of data type text. And we know that there are standard fields for every standard object, every custom object, which are by default there, given by Salesforce. Those are name, created by, last modified by owner. So these are the standard fields which are available for uh, standard objects, custom objects by default. So we have created the standard custom fields, these two custom fields. And yeah, so field label is nothing but the name which is displayed on top of it. I mean, how it is displayed to the GUI, how it is displayed on the GUI. Okay, field label, API name is the name which is how we can access it or reference it. So if we need to get the value of the email provided by the particular person entering data, so through programmatically, we can access it with this API name, email underscore underscore C. So yeah, so this is what we did on creating a new custom object, and then created custom fields, and we have learned about standard fields. And then we talked about field types, data types in Salesforce. Those are text area long, text area rich, email, phone, currency, URL, pick list multi-select, date time, number, percent, checkbox, text encrypted, auto number, geolocation, and time. And then comes our assignments. So just create this two list view options. I'm sure it is not more than 2 to 3 minutes. And this is also not more than 2 to 3 minutes. This one, it's going to be 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. So I would ask you to go through the topics whichever we have completed so far and also complete these assignments. Uh, During the daytime, I would share some kind of documents through the WhatsApp group today. Okay. Yeah, that is all from my side for today. And yeah, please focus on learning the subject yourself and also revising on whatever class has been taught and also complete the assignments. So this will help you, understand things clearly. A small request. Yeah, that is it for today. And thank you. Good day.